most of the focus here is on women, but can you just tell us how are men abused this way? Have you seen it much in law enforcement where this is a reversed role, and kind of the struggle with that? Because as men, I would think it would probably be very challenging for them to express that they're being abused.
And that's a huge key. Let's face it and get statistical with this one. The bulk of the victims are females. Okay, so we'll start there, and then I'll work my way gradually into what you were talking about. With men, I feel it's a heart issue, and I feel like we can and should do better. I'm not saying all men are abusers or anything like that, but unfortunately, statistically, we are the gender that tends to dish out the most punishment. Now, as far as the men go, I'll tell you, brothers, it's okay. All right, it's okay. Trauma's a thing. We all go through it, just like women. We have emotions as well. And I feel like, unfortunately, in the world, it's been a whole rub some dirt in it. You know, get off the ground, rub some dirt in it. Stop being a wuss. Stop being, and we need to break that mentality. Because I know for a fact, including myself, there are gentlemen out there that have gone through trauma. Maybe or maybe not through abuse, but it's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing for a guy to come up on stage. And like I said, I'm not super proud of this, but it's got to be said. You know, I have anxiety because I dealt with trauma. Okay, it affected me. I wasn't strong or tough enough to be avoiding that. And unfortunately, a lot of men have to deal with it. You know, and it's embarrassing, and it's something that we don't like to talk about because we don't want to be viewed as weak. Okay? Well, I'll tell you one thing. The weakest thing you can possibly do is keep it inside and have it reflect like it did with me in anger. Anger, frustration, depression. There were times in my life where I could remember specifically saying to myself, you know what? I don't really care if I'm alive tomorrow. I don't. You know, and it's not saying that I had a plan or anything for suicide, or it's not saying like I wanted it or anything like that, but I did go through a time to where I was like, you know what, if I wake up tomorrow, it really doesn't matter to me. And that's a very dark place to be in, and I feel like that's caused by trauma. Okay, it's not my normal personality to think like that. Something happened to me to make me think like that, and I'm here to tell you, if you're a gentleman like that, please, please do not be ashamed to come forward. And I'm living proof of it. Just like Dana, I didn't necessarily have to be here today and alive, because I could have, acted on some of my thoughts and things like that. But it does not have to be that way. And we can do it together through this. And
quickly, men that abuse, a lot of them have been abused. So men tend to do emotions in anger. Women we tend to be more, we cry, we get emotional, but men tend to handle their emotion with anger. So abuse is prevalent with men, and a lot of times it's in their childhood. Sexual abuse is a big one for men. That is very embarrassing and hard for them, and they lash out in anger. And not everybody that's abused becomes an abuser. That's not what I'm saying. But if that abuse isn't dealt with from childhood,
right,
they tend to be, most abusers tend to have been abused.